In the forecasting chapter, we will learn ways of predicting numbers that will occur in the future. As you know, there are a lot of uncertainties in business. One of the biggest uncertainties is the customer demand for your product. In this chapter, we'll discuss how to make estimates for the unknown future demand by looking at what happened in the past. That is, we'll discuss quantitative forecasting. It is quantitative because we'll be using numerical data. Of course, forecasting methods are used not only to predict customer demands, but many other quantities we need to predict in business, such as costs of materials, stock prices, and so on. First, let's take a look at some definitions. What is forecast? Well, it's just a prediction of what will happen in the future. We'll be looking at time series data. A time series means a set of numbers measured at successive points in time, like every week or every month. We'll look at a variety of time series methods where we try to discover the pattern in the past data and extrapolate into the future. For instance, here you can see there is an upward trend in the data. From this, we could assume that our future sales will be higher than now. We'll also look at a causal method, that is a regression, where if we know there is some factor influencing our sales, we can use that to predict the sales. For instance, if we're selling snowblowers, we might assume that the number of snowblowers sold might depend on the amount of snowfall. So if we look at Farmer's Almanac, for instance, that predicts the amount of snowfall we're likely to have this winter, we might be able to forecast how many snowblowers we'll be able to sell. Here are the methods we're going to learn. We'll look at three types of time series methods over here. First, smoothing methods, which are appropriate for data that don't actually have a pattern. The data only have random fluctuations, like you could see here. So we just smooth out the random fluctuations to make our forecasts. Next, we'll look at trend projection, which deals with the data that have some kind of upward or downward trend, as in the chart that we already saw before. For this one, you could see there is an upward trend. We will use a simple regression to predict the trend like this, fit a trend line through the data, so we could use that line to predict the future demand. Then we'll look at the data that have both trend and seasonality. That is, the product is seasonal. For instance, toys have much higher demand during the holiday season than other times. We'll learn how to use multiple regression to take into account both trend and seasonality. Here's an example of data that have both trend and seasonality. There's an upward trend that you could see like here, and also there is a seasonality, that up and down kind of pattern that repeat each year. We will learn how to use multiple regression to take into account both the trend and the seasonality. In addition, we'll also show how we might use regression to predict the sales from other factors like how much is spent on advertising.